Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. You're with me, Vasam and Amaya, and yes, we are discussing the Serendip International Cup, where the match is actually taking place at the Racecourse grounds. And in the studio, we have Alistair Savanamuthu, the CEO of the Rugby Union, with us once again on Good Morning Sri Lanka to discuss the cup with us.
Yes, he is here, and right now I have to ask you about the venue, as you mentioned, Vasam, which was the Racecourse grounds, and this is newly refurbished, and you're having this major international tournament happening there under lights, and no one's tested out the surface, I'm sure, and it's all different for the players as well. So what's the feedback been like? Because there were a few doubting Thomases who thought that maybe the venue couldn't live up to the standards of this tournament, but have those doubts been put to rest now?
Oh, 100%. It's a stunning venue. I mean,
it is definitely.
There's no argument. It's an incredible venue, and if anything, you'd say, well, it's not a rugby venue. Well, of course it's not, because it was a racecourse. So going back, but there isn't anywhere in the world that I'm aware of that is as beautiful and as breathtaking as the one we have in Colombo.
That's true, and under lights as well. So the entire tournament being under lights, was that a specific reason for it, or is that something that...
It gives it the rock and roll feature that we're all looking for. Lights is just, it brings it alive. It's, you know, we've got LED there, and, you know, it's, you know, rugby, I've said it again so many times, we've got to target the entertainment sector. We can't just target a rugby audience. But the Racecourse team have done an immense job in preparing that ground for today and Saturday. So
I see. Well, I need to ask you this now. You've been appointed as the CEO of the Rugby Union since May, and of course you've being a personality who's been in the international arena. Once you came down here and you took on the responsibility, what are some of the key observations of your stint here?
Good question. Good question. There's lots. All very positive, and it's actually the ones that are possibly seemingly unhealthy that are the ones I'm really embracing at the moment. And what I've found is that, you know, people are pretty reluctant to follow. They want to lead, and I can understand that, because where Sri Lanka are at the moment, they've punched above their weight over so many years, and there's a lot of people that have had a lot to do with that, clearly, and have gone out of their way to do it. But to take it to the next level, you have to follow at this point, and you have to bring in experts across every area. And again, it's all to do with finance. You can't bring an expert in from an international territory unless you can underwrite the salaries and the remunerations, and unfortunately you can't go like for like either. It costs to bring experts in. So it goes back to the very first question about having a commercial business that attracts revenue. That revenue brings in experts, and those experts add value to the business, which in turn creates a fantastic product. I'm fortunate to be first in, I'd say, and I'm doing everything I can to show a pathway and a footprint that people can follow, and it is challenging. You know, I can't avoid saying that it's enormously challenging.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
And I'm just pleased that I've actually got some roots here that enables me to sometimes wake up and think, is this for me? And don't get me wrong, that does go through, but at the end of the day, if everybody or a few people more are supportive by the day, then you get that energy, you get that injection of steel. And I would say at this point, with the Serendip Cup going on as it is, I think we've come in a massive distance in the short space of time, and I hope people acknowledge that for the good of Sri Lanka rugby.
Because you took over as CEO in May, and this tournament is happening right now in October, which is just a mere 5 months afterwards. It's a great tournament. I mean, you've got the International Rugby Board sanction for it as well, and you've got international referees here, so it's a huge step forward. But how big do you see this tournament going? Where is this tournament going to go in the future?
If allowed to do what I'm setting out with the vision, then within 3 years this should possibly be the second biggest 15s tournament in the world. I'll say it now, I'll say it exclusively on this breakfast show. You know, there's no question that can happen, but we have to be allowed and supported to do that.
Definitely.
You know, there's some fantastic people in my immediate team, Dilroy Fernando being one. What a super guy, top administrator, he knows his stuff, and you know, I'm just so grateful that he's stood by my side to get to this position now. A tournament like this can only be there for the strong-hearted.
But what kind of infrastructure needs to be in place for a tournament like this in 3 years for it to become a second-tier Rugby World Cup?
Actually, I
happening
mean,
in Sri
adding on
Lanka?
to what Amaya said, which is what I was about to ask as well, in terms of, now you said you have this particular vision.
Yeah.
In terms of not only just infrastructure, if you can just elaborate on key factors of improvement which needs to take place to achieve your vision.
Well, on an operational side, if we just put the playing side aside for a minute, you know, I don't like to say, but I am almost alone in what I do. I mentioned a guy's name, Dilroy Fernando, you know, very professional. We're going to need more Dilroy Fernandos and more Alistair Savramutos to do this. There's, you know, I've got a lady called Rita Derry who's been a rock in the corporate side, a graphics designer, you know. There's too few of us, but we can only do what's possible at the moment, resource-wise. So to put on a tournament like this, you know, of course there's going to be errors and there's going to be weaknesses, and it's not for people to criticise. And if anybody's got any criticism, they need to call me directly. They don't need to pull back, because this is what I'm talking about. Sri Lanka need to go forward. It's simple, and when you do go forward in any spectrum, in any business, you are leading the way, and you're going to get people biting you at the bottom. That's how life is. Being successful, you always attract people that don't enjoy often other people's success. And here, I just want to take Sri Lanka rugby to the next level, and then by doing that, we will bring the good people of Sri Lanka will come through in leaps and bounds.
Yeah, definitely, and it's great to be a part of this initiative that you've done, because MTV will be screening all of these matches live and exclusive on MTV Sports, and you can catch them if you are sadly not able to make it for the venue, and then you can catch it all on our website as well, which is www.mtvsports.lk. So I have to remind everyone about that. But coming back to the tournament and the teams, let's talk about the rankings that these countries are now at. And this is the first African team and the first European team to come down. So in terms of the world rankings, where are we, where are they?
Well, we went into the match 38th in the world against Madagascar, who are 44th. So there was a little bit of a gap there. But having lost that game, you know, obviously you would expect to take a little dent. Nothing significant.
I see.
But that said, we did put, you know, again, you can't hide from the fact you can't sit at 38th and be sat there, Kings at 38th, and expect 39, 40 and 41 to just bow down. You've got to earn it, and you've got to go out there. And this is the whole point of this tournament. These players, led by Namal, they need to experience outside of Asia. They need that in order to improve. So win, lose or draw, this tournament is not about lifting a Tri-Nations trophy. This tournament is about taking learning from the opposition, taking video analysis from the games, playing teams from territories that play different rugby to Asia.
That's true.
This is what it's about. Losing, you know, you have to lose to get better.
Of course, because if they did win, then they would be complacent about where they are right now, and there would be no progress.
You know, yes and no. Yeah, complacent, but you know, the confidence grows. But somewhere along the line, you are going to get beaten, and you only have to look at tennis and golf.
Of course.
You know, they get beaten, and when they get beaten, it's as good as, you know, a pat on the back. Get yourself sorted out and come back stronger and fitter.